For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast is fueled by the Man Shake. I lost 30 kilos in 10 months using this meal replacement shake. If you want to support the show and max in my weight loss journey, or to even start your own, click the link in the description below. The Man Shake. Real blokes, real results.
For the Players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast. For 40 years and playing PlayStation and 8+ years in that games meeting combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join us as the conversation happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can watch the show live, become part of the chat, be in the show. If you want to support the show, you can tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening to us on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating. Pardon me. And a written review. And if you... If you are watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can. Patreon.com/popculture, as well as our merchandise store, popculture.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Hey, man. What's going on?
Oh, same old.
Yeah, it's a bit of same old, isn't it? Yeah.
Actually, so... I'll kick things off. So after I've been ranting for the longest time about vaccinations and mine getting cancelled and rescheduled and rah.
Mm-hmm.
I got my AstraZeneca shot mid-July.
Yes.
Which means that I would not normally be getting my second dose until mid-October.
Yes.
It seems like a really long time. And with the way that the government's moving forward of, we want to hit these 70 to 80% fully vaccinated deadlines before we can, start easing restrictions and all that stuff. Like, damn, I'm going to be waiting ages. Everyone who's getting Pfizer shots now are going to be fully vaccinated before I get my second dose. This is outrageous.
It is a little bit.
Well, Victoria, where we live, has decided that 12 weeks is it's not necessary to wait 12 weeks now. Anytime after 6 weeks for the AZ shot, you're good to go.
Oh, that's good.
So one of my friends is a doctor, and I spoke to him like, hey, should I wait out the full 12 weeks? I'm like, I'm halfway there. Should I just wait? He's like, nah, man, if you can get booked in sooner, go for it. He's like, you had your first dose 8 weeks ago anyway. He's like, if you can get in, get in. So I rang the place. I'm like, hey, I have an appointment mid next month, but can I bring that forward? And they're like, how's next Monday sound? I'm like, next Monday sounds great. So I have one more week until I'm fully vaccinated. I'm very excited about that.
Well, seeing is like, I know we discussed like every show for the last like 3 months has been about lockdown because that's what we're living in right now. But yeah, so
lockdown is life.
Lockdown is life, and it's one of the the current rulings are once we hit this particular level of vaccination, things can go back to normal in some capacity, right? So obviously I'm fully vaccinated as well, and now you will be very shortly. Fucking A. That way we can be back in this room together. We can go places. We can go get chicken and waffles.
Well, I was reading an article this morning. Apparently, our local area that we live in is currently leading the charge for vaccinations in Victoria.
Well, that's because we have the big Ford factory where everyone just wanders in and gets fucking stabbed and then leave. Like, it's a great venue. Great venue for vaccinations.
It's a great venue. The old walk-through jab.
Yeah, no, it's not too bad. It's pretty sweet out this way in Geelong, which is nice. Mm-hmm. But other than finally getting vaccinated, what else is new for the week? Anything cool?
Not much. I took some time off this week. I've had a rough couple of weeks with stress, but obviously all the house stuff is now semi-sorted. I've now got other house stresses that is stressing me out. Basically, due to all these all these mix-ups and government grants that we've gotten, they've lowered our interest rate, which is a big yay, you know. So our interest rate lowered from 3.4 to 2.4, so big yay. But it's now screwed with our mortgage repayments. So we got like an automated text message, and they're like, "Your first repayment will be X $100 tomorrow." I'm like, that seems like too much. That sounds like interest and principal, and we should only be paying interest because we've got a building contract. I ring my broker. My broker's like, here's the direct number for the bank. Give them a call. Find out what's going on. I get the lovely automated message of, all our operators are busy. Be prepared to wait for 2.5 hours. Well, I'm like, no, I'm not going to wait 2.5 hours. I went into the bank, and then the bank's like, due to some recent law changes, there's only some information we can give you, and we can't tell you exactly what you want to know. Contact your lender. I'm like, you are my lender. You are the one lending me the money. My name is on this loan. You are the lender. Please tell me the information that I need, so the first mortgage repayment doesn't get screwed up. And they're like, there's nothing we can tell you. I'm sorry, contact your lender. So I go back to my broker.
I'm a fucking lender.
I go back to my broker. I'm like, here's the account number for my loan. Can you please try and find out what's going on? 20 minutes later, he forwards a reply from the bank. And they're like, yes, you are correct. X $100 is too much. You should definitely be paying interest only, as we have not fully funded your loan yet because you've only just bought land. If it does take out the full X $100 amount, please tell us so we can rectify that issue. It has now been a week and no money has come out. But when I log into my net banking, it's like, your next mortgage repayment will be due in 0 days, and your minimum repayment is $0. I'm like, what? So I have no idea what's going on. They've given us our money. I just don't know. And then a couple of days ago, the bank that we signed up with, because we bank with them already, they gave us a $500 cashback bonus that they've put into our account as well. So they're giving us more money, but not taking theirs. So there's just some awkward, I don't know what's going on. I'm currently sitting in mortgage limbo of, they gave me the money, I own the land, but they're not taking repayments yet. I'm very confused.
I too am confused. None of that checks out.
But yay for lower interest rates, I guess.
Yeah, low interest rates is great. I don't know. Adult talk. I don't even know what mine is. That's all my wife. She's the finance lady. I just come in and do it.
Yeah, it's just all I know is it's going to come out of my bank account at some point. So,
but it's one of those things. Once it gets rolling, once the house is done, it's just fucking smooth sailings from then.
Hopefully.
You mean there's not much else that can go down, so it's pretty much done.
Yeah, well, I thought it was going to be smooth sailing to begin with, but it's been nothing but fucking problems. We started this process in November of last year.
It's true.
And we settled last week.
Yeah, but there has been a whole pandemic in that time, though.
Yeah, true. But other than that, I enjoyed my time off. Kind of just did nothing. My wife is lucky enough to have time off as well, so we got to spend some time together, which is nice. She's got she had all of this week off, all of last week off, and she has all of next week off as well. So she's kind of just chilling.
Lovely.
Thing. What about you? How's your week?
So my week has been interesting. There are some things I can't discuss on air just because it would be unprofessional of me from a workplace perspective.
Butt stuff.
Yeah. Just some challenges in the workplace that have been interesting. I myself have some leave off next week. I was able to score Monday, this coming Monday, the day that this goes live. Mostly because I was chatting to my boss and he's like, "Hey, I want to take this day off later in the month." He's like, "Well, why?" He's like, "Well, it's my birthday and it's the first day of the NFL season for the New York Giants, so I want to watch it." I'm like, "Cool. Can I have Monday off?" He's like, "Why?" He's
like, here's a good 3 weeks leadway of I want a day off, and you're like, yeah, Monday, mate. I want Monday.
Well, I spoke to him about a week ago about this. So there's essentially our branch manager. So my boss's boss, like he knows that we're working real hard at the moment. He's like, you guys have too much. You guys are working too much. You're going over too much. You need to take some days, like paid days, not annual leave. Just time. Consider it time in lieu. Take a fucking day. Chill. Like Jesus Christ, take a day. So it's been on and off for the last couple of weeks. I'm like, look, there's a day coming up in September that I probably want to take might take a day. I still have my PAX leave in October, but I'll pull that because there's no PAX. So I was waiting on some final information, which was whether friend of the show Craig took the day off as well, because Monday at the time of record, which is the day of this goes live, is AEW's All Out, and I was like, well, can I take All Out off? He's like, oh yeah, sure. So. All Out. I'm excited. Fuck, I'm so excited. Like it's one of those ones because AEW for the longest time have been having their shows on Saturdays in America, so Sundays our time, right? Which is the most beautifulest thing. And out of nowhere, they've started making it Sundays there. I'm like, can you fucking not? Because a Sunday pay-per-view for me is the best possible option. Like I can watch it here at home. I don't take time off work and no fuck assing around. But yeah, so I was able to swing the day off, which makes me very, very happy. Very happy. So we'll do that, and my son will still be around. And my wife, I think, is working, so it'll be an interrupted viewing experience. But I'm very happy to still watch it nonetheless. Other than that, not a whole lot for me, man. My week has been as regular as it ever has been. I said I'm still watching Sons of Anarchy with Craig as well. We've been like date nighting it almost every night and watching the series together. Last night was the thing that I knew that was coming. Have you watched Sons of Anarchy?
Some, not all.
Okay, so there is a particular character of mine that is my absolute favorite. To me, he is kind of the heart and soul of it, and he's a character that's had a lot of turmoil in his time in the show, and their character sees a demise in a particular episode, right? Season 5, episode 3. I can tell because it haunts me. So watching it again last night with Craig, knowing full well that it was coming in that episode, like I was just a ball of anxiety because I knew it and I knew how it would make me feel. I knew it would be bad, and sure enough, when that time came in, I am just a mess. I'm talking like
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert! I'm a mess. Like, I'm, like, hard crying, like, fucking in the chest. Like, not like the sobs, I'm, like, outwardly just fucking weeping. And it's insane, because I watched that episode when it aired 9 years ago, almost to the day. And it was just insane how, like, I am rewatching the show in such quick succession now compared to watching it week to week like I did back in the day. It's just how hard this character hits and how hard that story is. And I'm just like... Yeah, it was bad. Like, but don't get me wrong, I'm not ashamed of it in any way. Because I love that the show can make me feel that way. I love that any show can make someone feel that way. I think that's incredibly important. Like, there's not enough TV hits people in the right way, but it's all good. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Anyway, Max, we've been playing.
Not much this week, so. I'm still playing Destiny 2.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, it's the game that I keep coming back to, and like I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, with this new week-to-week storytelling that they're doing, it does give me a reason to come back each week. Still on that level grind now that the new season started last week, so they've upped the level cap. So doing all that fun stuff. The other thing I've been playing is I dove back into Ghost of Tsushima. So I finished the first island, raided the castle, rescued the guy that I needed to rescue, and then I got the blip of, hey, now that you're on the second island, come party on Iki Island. I'm like, okay, sounds good. Got on my horse, rode over there. You do this little quest before you gain access, and they introduce what I noticed to be a new enemy type. They have shamans now, because why not? Basically, they stand there and chant, and then they just like buff all the enemies around you. So they just start attacking erratically, and they're a bit stronger. They move a little bit differently to what they normally do.
Interesting.
So you clean that up, and then you jump on the boat, and you sail to the island. You kind of shipwreck, get on there. The first thing you do is you're like, "Where's my horse?" Because you've taken your horse with you for some reason.
Nice.
On this boat trip, you find your horse. The area is, I found it to be, it's so much more wildlife.
Oh, cool.
On this island, so you land on the beach and you start walking, and there's monkeys everywhere, and they're doing their own thing. It's really cool. Aesthetically, it's very similar to the main area for Ghost of Tsushima.
So it's not like the art design is it any different? So there's like different foliage.
It seems to be more. There is different foliage and stuff, but obviously it does seem to be more populated with. It doesn't seem to be as densely populated because it is a small, self-contained island, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So I've done a little bit of the story content for that. So when you first go to do this quest, it's like, hey, you're going to be stuck here until you finish. You can't leave the island until you've completed your task.
Yeah.
And then it gives you and you're like, are you sure you want to proceed? I'm like, yeah. And then it's like, hey man, just to let you know, this content is difficult. The enemies you face will be harder than that you've faced so far. Are you sure you want to commit to this? I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine. Be fine. Get absolutely destroyed by the first set of dudes that I see. I'm like, oh, I may have made a mistake here. I didn't. It turns out I'm just bad at the game.
Because I have been wondering that, because I had the same thing when we were discussing last week about how returning to the game and just kind of like how to play it.
So one of my friends, friend of the show, Noodle, he got the platinum trophy for the base game and 100%ed the Iki Island expansion. So I said to him, like, hey, am I going to be doing myself a disservice if I play the expansion first? I'm not going to be like rock up there and it's going to be like a party. I've rescued all the people that I'm supposed to rescue and they're all just hanging out, chilling. He's like, no, there's no spoilers.
That's one of the reasons I've been avoiding it. Yeah,
the story is this own self-contained thing, and it's really cool. It's more of it gives a little bit more of a backstory into who Jin is and how he became who he is. You'll learn a bit more about his father and stuff like that, which is really cool. So I've spent about 4 hours in the expansion area so far. I just fought my first big boss. I kind of got a little bit distracted. I was doing the legend tales. I think there's like basically storytellers around campfires tell of these legends, and you can go seek them out. So I found this armor set that was owned by this fearsome pirate. I kind of went through this lagoon. I went swimming through this brightly lit lake into a cave system and found this pirate's treasure, and I had to fight his essentially like ghost. And it was really cool. And I've worked out that I play this game too much like Assassin's Creed to be any good at the boss fights. Every time I have all these boss fights are very proper samurai duels, and they all absolutely wreck me until I work out the pattern of their attacks. I'm so used to like running through and like smoke bomb, stab, and just assassinating everyone. I have a very lack of honor when playing this game. I find that I play this game probably a little bit too much like that of Assassin's Creed. Probably the closest game that's similar. Which is fine because I enjoy playing it that way, but it does do me a disservice when I have to do those one-on-one duels. I do find it sometimes difficult, but the retries are fairly forgiving, and once you do get to know that pattern, it does make things a little bit easier. I have to remember that red means dodge, not block.
Yeah, red is the unblockable attack. So very similar to yourself, I have been spending some time with Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut as well. We should also specify, as we do every time, the code was provided to us by PlayStation Australia for review. Unlike you, I still have not gone to Iki Island because, as expected, I was instantly distracted by anything else. where I was playing it and it was like, hey, there's all these farms that need to be cleared out. I'm like, I can clear out farms. And then I started clearing out the farms instead. And then it's like, hey, I haven't explored this corner of the map. Maybe there's something there that I haven't seen. So I started clearing like the fog of the map. And I'm like, why am I just riding around a fucking field trying to clear a map? What am I doing? And then I'm like, oh, a fox den. And then I wander, and I wander over there. Like, hey, Mr. Fox, what's going on? That's pretty much been my life in Ghost of Tsushima. It was the same when I played it the first time. It's same in the director's cut. There is still all like, in terms of myself, everything I said about it last week is still relatively the same, because the big difference about talking about it this week was the plan for the Iki Island, as well as the Legends stuff. So yeah, I've not gone to Iki Island yet either, mostly because I was under the impression that it would be some endgame story shit, or it would at least expect you to be of a particular level and or whatever skill set. And I was like, well, I'm playing the game again now, and I'm barely like okay at it, right? So I'm not gonna like jump on it right now. But it sounds like, at least with Noodle, with Noodle's involvement, he's like, hey, do it a little. You probably can go for it now, which I think I might, because one thing that I would really need out of Ghost of Tsushima is more around Jin, because Jin is so boring and just unexciting as a person. Like, there's not a whole lot of character oomph to him for me, even the time that I've played. So if the entire island is very much littered in his backstory, to me, then I want to know that. I need to know more about him, make him more enticing for me. But
like I said, before we started recording, we had a small chat, and I mentioned that I find Jin doesn't even stick to his own convictions. Like at the start, like every time something like a big moment happens, you have one of those flashback scenes, and it explains why he feels the way he feels. Like he has that samurai code of honor, and then early on in the game, you meet a thief, and she's like, "I need you to help me save my brother. The blacksmith, he'll be able to craft you the things that you need." And you're like, well, I'm looking at gathering allies. This seems like a really good option to me. And she's like, we can't just storm the gate. We can't just walk through. They're going to decimate us. We've got to be sneaky. We're going to take them down silently. He's like, I can't do that. And then you do it. And he's like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like instantly backflips on his code of honor. And I've noticed, other characters comment on it from time to time. They're like, hey, you're a samurai. You shouldn't be doing that. And you're like, smoke bomb stab.
Yeah.
He's like,
because I too forget about my samurai convictions.
He's very loosey-goosey with his with his code of honor.
Like, I kind of just walk in. I'm like, what can I stand on and shoot at? All right. Pew, pew, pew. All right.
Well, that's right. Like, you walk in, you do your standoff, and the standoff's really cool. And then you get your 3 instant kills, and then the rest of the group just rushes you, and you're like, smoke bomb. And then you're just like throwing kunais and like throwing bombs at people. You're blowing up barrels. You're like, samurai.
It's tough to make a samurai game because any other way of playing it is more exciting.
As for the multiplayer, the legend stuff,
it dropped like this morning at time of recording. So
it dropped today at time of recording. So the release date was September 3rd. So it makes sense that us in Oz get it the day after, because we're from the future.
Yeah.
But so with it, I believe a challenge mode for the raid has come out. So the 4 of us who did it to begin with, when it first released a few years back, or last year, or whenever it released, we're like, we're gonna do it again because we really enjoyed it. We only ever did it once. We're like, let's do it again. Turns out one of us didn't upload their save data from their PS4.
Rad.
And he's like, I'm like, well, just plug your PS4 back in. He's like, it's out in the garage now. It seems like too much effort. So instead, he's replaying it from the start and leveling back up and re-gearing back up instead of just the 5-minute walk to the garage to upload his save. So we've been playing a little bit of the basically the survival waves. I have noticed that it's in 3 tiers, so bronze, silver, and gold difficulty. Each have their own challenge rating, and then obviously you get better loot the higher tier it is. It used to be 15 waves for bronze, 20 for silver, and 25 for gold. That's how they used to make it difficult. You just had to survive longer. They've gone away with that, and everything's 15 waves now, which makes the game incredibly better. Because 25 waves used to take like an hour and a bit.
Damn.
Like, it's a big chunk of time. So it was really good improvement that they dropped that back down to 15 in alignment with everything else. They just made the enemies hit harder, have more health, stuff like that. Game's still really fun. I look forward to jumping into. We'll probably play a bit of it tonight at time of recording. So they added the weapon masterwork. So previously the gear score maxed out at 110. You can now up it to 120. Along with this, there are now new skills for each of the 4 classes, and they are predicated on they unlock by doing master working your gear essentially. So each time you masterwork something, it's like, hey, you've got to do a certain thing. So mine was complete one of the optional quests in any of the online story modes. Easy. Friend of the show, Cass, his first one was survive 15 waves in the wave shooter. Which, again, very simple. They don't seem to be overly difficult. It's just go and do this task, and then you can re-roll another piece of gear up to 120. And then once you've done 5, which I think is a full set of gear, you'll unlock all the new abilities for each class. So the main class I play is the Hunter. So the first one I unlocked was you get to equip an extra legendary piece of gear. So like most games, you can only have one legendary piece of gear equipped because they generally have one perk that makes them very useful. So up until this point, I used the bow that on headshots, arrows ricochet to nearby enemies, which is really good. Now that I can unlock a second one, I now can use my master katana, which unlocks all stances at once. So when you play online, you depending on what weapon you pick, what sword you pick, you're generally limited to 1 or 2 stances max, which is difficult because all 4 enemy types are in the game at once, and you do need to kind of dance to be useful. So having this sword that allows all 4 stances, kind of useful. So I look forward to diving into more of that. You'll hear more about that next week from me. Hopefully by then I'll have recompleted the raid. Not that I remember how to do it, so that'll be a fun relearning curve. Because despite the fact that we've done it once, does not mean we're going to be able to do it again.
I have faith in you, so I think you can get there. I think you can get it done.
But yeah, so far, yeah, I've really been enjoying my time with the Iki Island. I've had to put myself in that mindset of, if the mission is close to a fast travel point, I'm going to fast travel because otherwise I'll get distracted.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the same thing, I think.
Which is a real shame because there's so much fun and interesting stuff to find, but I find myself getting lost in the game's environment.
Yeah.
So
The way my brain,
so much to do.
The way my brain works, like any of those little side distractions, I'm instantly off. And that's not handy for me. If anything, it just makes it even harder for me to finish the game. It's the same problem that I have with Assassin's Creed, as an example. When it comes down to, you don't have to clear the area, but I'm like, yeah, but I kind of need to.
It's funny. It's the same thing with a lot of games that have these pressing story components where it's like, I have to rescue my son, I have to rescue my father, I have to rescue my uncle, or I could follow this bird and see where that takes me. Yeah, and then there's some bamboo over here that needs to be cut. There's some archery challenges over here, and I'm
gonna go write some poetry.
I'll just get to my dad when I get to him, I guess.
Like, yeah, like he's still gonna be around.
I mean, he's not leaving his captivity. It'll be fine. He's gonna be there waiting for me when I get there.
Like, he's locked up now. He'll be locked up later. Like,
yeah, it's such a bizarre, Yeah.
Nice. Well, I've touched a little bit of a couple of different games this week. So predominantly, I have been a bit more of the Hades, which I'm still in love with. I've done about 20 runs now, 21 runs, I think. I've killed like 2,000 dudes or some shit. I'm this close to unlocking the fun, like the 8, because there's like the 8 weapons, isn't there?
Six.
6?
3 at the top and 3 down the side.
Yeah, so I'm about to unlock. Well, actually, at the end, I think this run, because I stopped as I came out of my last run, but I should have enough keys to unlock the last weapon, which is mad. And now I'm just kind of spending gems on shit in the thing because I just can't get past that fucking that Minotaur.
So are you getting stuck at it the first time you meet it or the second?
I haven't got past him yet.
Okay.
It's like, 'cause I get to him and then he just starts running at me. And I dart out of the way, I dart, and then I attack him, and then it's almost like the second he one hits me almost.
Yeah.
Because he's just intense. And eventually I'll get there. And I'm like, it's not, once again, not unlike Returnal, which is just a hard roadblock for me. I keep wanting to come back to Hades because it's just awesome fun. Additionally, I have been playing a couple other games that are more for review. One of them being this little independent game called Action Arcade Wrestling. So the code was provided to me via the developer. I remember seeing it a while ago and being like, oh yeah, well, that looks dumb. Give me a go. And that's pretty much what it is. It's this cool little side, it's a somewhat 3D, 2D view, but somewhat 3D fighter, right?
Oh, 2.5D.
Yeah, in the same way that Tekken allows you to move forward and back in the stage, but not in a spin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
kind of like those old school brawlers.
Yeah, yes, like an old school brawl, like a Streets of Rage, like Double Dragon-esque sort of thing. So it's a side shot. There's the ring in the middle. You can go in and out of the ring, but it is kind of very much you face that person, and then go for that. They added school, then the arcade part of it is 100% accurate. Like there is exhibition matches, there is creator matches, there's ring creators, whatever. So like straight up, they're like, look, I clicked on the content creator thing, and it's just like, hey, we are not responsible for what anyone fucking makes, all right? Like we give you the tools. If you happen to make copyright material, it's on you. And then I go, okay, sure, whatever. And then I'm seeing like Kenny Omega, I'm seeing Kane, I'm just seeing any wrestler for any other promotion. And then you go into the arenas and it's the same message. And then it's like, I'm like, yeah, sure. And then it's like SummerSlam and WCW and like it's just littered with other fucking wrestling brands.
They knew what was going to happen.
They did. So there's no like campaign or story driven part of it. It is essentially just exhibition matches, like 1v1 or 2v whatever, and you can have a number of supported players or CPUs. I've had a little bit. I ran through the tutorial. I played with the creation suite a little bit, and I had a couple of goes at the exhibition matches. It is very simple in the idea. It's mostly using the face buttons and different combinations of pressing the face buttons, left, right. It is an arcade. It's the equivalent of having an arcade stick, right? Like it's just pressing these two buttons, pressing this with the left and right and whatever. So it is beautifully simple. The art style is very interesting. It's a more of a harder, you know how like the Borderland style hard lines, cartoon look. It is that, but like jacked up a bit more. Now, you may not remember this, but there was some Goosebumps games back in the day. So there was Escape from Horrorland, and there was Attack of the Mutants or something. Mm. Do you remember that game?
Vaguely.
All right. Well, it's very similar artistically.
Okay.
So it is very cartoony. It's very hard line, very simple coloring. But to me, that really works in the arcade space. Yeah. Which I really quite like. So it is a shallowish experience so far, but it never promised to be anything huge. So my expectations aren't like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, this is kind of what I thought it was going to be. And if I just go in and have a bunch of silly matches with myself and a CPU, sure, then it's literally ticked all the boxes that I wanted. Yeah. And I will spend some more time with it. But as of right now, I'm like, yeah, cool. This is kind of fun. I'm going to keep making characters. Having some sort of campaign would be nice. But once again, most arcade games do not have that, or at least some sort of like tower level or something would be cool.
Yeah.
In the same way that Tekken never really had. Tekken has
like
a story.
Like a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, well, they had different things. I mean, and even like like Tekken back in the day, it's like, well, you have 18 fights, and by the end, you take on Heihachi, and then you successfully beat the game. That same concept would have been cool, but that wasn't here in this case.
Okay.
Additionally, as I think I said at the start of the show, my neck's giving me the shits because for the first time in the longest time, I pulled the VR out. So, we were provided a code for I Expect You to Die 2, The Thief and the Liar. So, it is a sequel to I Expect You to Die, which... the easy way to explain it is they're almost like escape rooms, right? You are a spy and you get into a scenario where you have to escape out of this room or achieve the mission in the quickest time that you can. So after what felt like the most bullshit time to set up VR, because I know why I haven't played VR in a while. There is just so many cables. There is so much bullshit. I have to move this whole room around. I have to push tables out of the way. I've got to reposition cameras. I've got to plug 11 things in. And then, because there's only 3 USB slots on the PS5, right? One of them is now taken up by the camera. Previously not an issue because there was a camera port on the PS4. Sweet. Now, I have an external hard drive plugged in the back of it that holds my PS4 games. Mad. Except, I don't know. Let me think. I Expect You to Die is a fucking PS4 game because there's no native PS5 VR games. Well, I guess I better leave that plugged in then. I can't use my fucking new sweet wireless headphones while playing this game because it takes up a USB slot when the fucking breakout box is a USB slot. And then to make matters worse, my son was annoying me as I was trying to... He's like, what's this cable do, Dad? What's this do, Dad? I'm like, just let me... Look, this is hard enough as it is. Let me just cable it up, all right? And then we'll go from there. But once I got into the game and the move controls were working, the game is great. It's fantastic. So I believe there's about 6 missions to it. I've completed 3 at the time of recording. It is good. It's real good. Like, so there is a bit more of a story to it than there were previously. Where previously it was like, here's a mission, and then you would go back to the head office, and then you would go back to another mission. Like, there was a semi-thread between them, but not like, it certainly wasn't anything. It was mostly, here's bit by bit. In the Thief and the Liar, they have upped the ante a little bit. Even in terms of the locations, they feel more involved. They feel like there's a couple extra steps to getting it done. It does feel a bit more intricate, like as in they've taken the idea of what they delivered in the first and they've added to it. In the same way, the Job Simulator was really cool, and then they became, when they opened it up with Vacation Simulator, you're like, oh, there's so much more you can do in this space. Like, it's still the same idea. You're stuck in your seated position and you reach the things around you and you unlock puzzles and you dodge bullets and lasers and shit, and like, it's all those same beats, but it just feels like there is more, right? And to make it even fun, because of that campaign that I was talking about, there is a villain. There is Juniper, I believe, is it Jay Juniper is the name of one of the characters you deal with, as well as someone called the Fabricator. Juniper is voiced by Will Wheaton, which is fun because when the opening credits kick in, it's this cool 3D experience. I'm like, this is fucking amazing, and it's like voice cast with Will Wheaton. I'm like, oh fuck, Will Wheaton. That's okay, cool. That's a voice I like to hear. So as it starts up, hear his voice and he's chatting away, and it's very, very cool. Like, I don't think I think 6 is, looking at the way the game is set up. So previously it was video film reels, and this one it's almost like Betamax cassettes. And there's the spot because your main hub is the back of a van. In that van, there is a rack that has the missions that you've done, and this looks to be about 6 spots. So I'm assuming that there's no more than 6. As I said, I've done 3, so cool. I got that was that for about 2 hours. So I reckon there's at least another 2 hours in it for me, which from a VR experience for like 4 or 5 hours, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good time.
It's just like there was even times where in the exact thing that I wanted with this in terms of that complete escape room-esque feel. Like there are times where I'm sitting there and I literally have to go, huh. Like, you have all the tools in front of you, which, if you've ever done an escape room, that's what happens. Eventually you get to the point where all the tools are in front of you and you go, how the fuck do I use these?
Yeah.
And that's what I loved, because it was especially the second mission? Yeah, the second mission specifically. So you lower, you're trying to break something out of a house, and you lower down and you're in front of a desk, and you have to intricate your way through this desk. And I have all these tools in front of me. And I'm like, I think I've used every possible thing here. Where is the hurdle that I'm having? But then I eventually sussed it out and it was all good. I'm not going to tell you because they're spoilers. I am very good at busting out spoilers in this show, don't get me wrong. But that one I'll keep on the But no, I highly recommend it. Even though I haven't finished it yet, I will push my way through it. It's just more of setting the VR up. That's the biggest hurdle. It's just, so inconvenient, man. It's just so ball bags.
Yeah, hopefully the revision is one cable, just one single USB-C cable.
It's all I need. Just
that's the dream.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, even if it's one cable to a breakout box to a one cable, that's all we need.
Yeah.
Like, if there needs to be a breakout box, I understand if there needs to be a breakout box. Because maybe there's some external power, external grunt that's needed. But not like 3 plugs in the back, so HDMI run around, and then a bunch of other things out the front. Like, it's too many cables. Like, it actually deters you from playing it. It does for me anyway. I didn't think there was anything else I played this week. I think that was it. Oh, Monster Harvest came out this week, which I haven't picked up yet, which is a bummer. I haven't played. I was hoping to pick it up, and I was like, I'll get to it eventually, and then I just haven't. Which is this weird kind of farming game mixed with Pokemons. We'll see how we go. But anyway, before we get into the news section, let's do the part of the show where we talk about our Get Less Fat update. So in 2020, I lost over 30. Between now and 20. From 2021 to now, I've lost over 35 kilos using a product called the Man Shake. It's a meal replacement shake made out of here in Australia, where I am an ambassador for. It supports this show, and Max himself has started his journey this year in 2021. He's lost close to 15 kilos. So when we have this...
Almost 16.
Almost 16 kilos. So we do this section each and every week to keep us accountable on our journey. So Max, obviously this week went well for you if you're pushing 16 kilos lost now.
Yeah, so back at work, just eating better, not using the shakes as much, which is annoying. I often find myself, despite the fact that they're so easy to make, I often find myself like, I don't really feel like a liquid meal today. I'll make like a salad roll or something. So although I am not shaking as much, I am being more conscious about what I eat.
And that's fine.
I'm not snacking as much.
Well, yeah, because the shakes are they are a Kickstarter to what would become ideally a lifestyle change, right? The idea is you're not going to be on the shakes forever, because that is unsustainable. But they are there to help you in that interim period, and that's where we're at. Like I'm still going on them because they're a part of my routine now. It's part of my day, and I don't think too much about it. I was like, yeah, cool, sweet, all right, that's easy. I'm still about the exact same where I was. I do think this is the weight that I will sort of sit around unless I really make some either drastic changes or in terms of exercise, or I don't know. Like I said, I'm hitting everything I've ever done, and I'm still steady at this weight. So there will come a threshold of what your body is meant to kind of sit at. And as a bigger frame dude, I'll always be bigger. I don't think I'm ever going to be like 80 kilos or something. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But there is still room to move, of course. I can still lose weight, but it's just steady.
Obviously, you're with the lockdowns at the moment. You're not being able to go to gym and do all that stuff is.
Yeah, and plus, with my change of my role, I'm working more, I am working longer, so the time I would normally piss off to go home, to go to the gym, even that, before when the gyms were sort of open, it was tough for me to get there in time before coming home to make sure I see my kid before he goes to bed and all that stuff, and weighing up those options, because of that lifestyle balance, it is do I want to go see my son before he goes to sleep, or do I want to run the treadmill? I'm like, well, I'm going to go see my son.
Got to do them 5 a.m. gym
Yeah,
sessions.
that's not happening. Absolutely not happening. End of the day, it is for me. It has to be the end of the day, because then I go and I'm done, and then I'm in complete relaxed mode for the day, for the rest of the night.
Fair enough.
But yeah. So if you want to support Max and I on our weight loss journeys, you can just head into the link in the description. That is bit.ly/FTP You don't even have to buy anything. Just by clicking the link, you support the show. But if you do want to start your own journey, you can do from down there. All right, Max, let's get to the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation.
Well, let's kick off with some Sony news then.
Fucking huge news.
After all the rumors of a Sony State of Play coming in August came and went with nothing from Sony. However, out of nowhere this week, Sony dropped the announcement with a save the date. PlayStation, there will be a PlayStation broadcast happening next Thursday, the 9th of September at 9 p.m. That is 6 a.m. Friday morning for us Aussies. Over on the PlayStation blog, Sid Schumann gives a vague idea of what to expect. The showcase will, quote, include updates from PlayStation Studios and some of the industry's most imaginative developers for games releasing this holiday and beyond. The blog also states that viewers should, quote, stick around after the presentation to get more updates from some of the studio teams featured in the showcase. No new PSVR stuff will be shown or spoken about.
Yeah. So in the email blast that I got, it was pretty much exactly that. They're like, very clear, no PSVR 2 shit ain't happening. But that's it. Normally they specify other things, like you will not be seeing this, you will not be seeing that. So the idea of just not PSVR kind of leaves it open to almost anything else.
Yeah.
So Max, as the title of the episode is, let's have fun with this. Let's take some time. Let's predict this motherfucker. What is it that you want to see? Well, actually, let's talk a couple ways. Let's look at what we think in terms of expectations. So kind of like what we want, need, and completely
like
out of the blue.
Educated guesses versus...
Yeah, educated guesses, things that we think will happen, and then just balls to the wall shit. So what from an educated guess, how do you see it going?
I think that because we saw nothing of Horizon at Keeley's event last month, but they came out and said we've got a firm release date now, I have a feeling that there will be a presence of Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
I think we will possibly see a small teaser of God of War.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling we will see a small teaser of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 or whatever that is.
That's a... Oh, you call that's in your educated guess category?
Yeah, with Insomniac having wrapped Ratchet and Clank, I have a feeling that they will have something to show already.
Okay.
It'll be a teaser, something very small, but I have a feeling we could see Spoods.
Interesting.
I don't know what else I think we will see.
Well, from an educated guess standpoint, for me, it looks as if... So Horizon will be a big one. I think we'll see maybe some more gameplay potentially, or there would be enough to showcase, because the way I see these showcases working is the same way as last year's. Let's look at the next 12 to possibly 18 months now with the pandemic, right? Let's 12 to 18 months what they're shooting for. So think about it, anything releasing within the 2022 calendar year and possibly rolling into 2023. So with that in mind, Horizon is 100% in there. There will be some more footage in some way, maybe some more context around the story, because the last trailer that we saw was just more of a gameplay showcase sort of thing, right? It's like, here's some context, here's what it is there. So potentially a story trailer of some capacity, just sort of hinting at what's to come, which would be cool. GT7 will be present. There's been some contention around when it is going to drop within the year. I've said this prediction before, and I'm going to lay it down now as well. I think that it is June of next year, from a tentative date. It'll show some car racing, whatever, and then just say June 2021. which to me is expected.
2022.
22, sorry. Fuck, what year is it? Yeah, 22. And then there will also be a teaser for what will become God of War. Now, when I say teaser, I mean as in we likely won't see Kratos or story beats or anything. I think it'll be very, very similar to the like where we see the Omega symbol, just the date. I'm expecting almost black snow. So Christopher Judge reprising his role as Kratos, saying something, and then it just goes 2022 or something, or maybe
Leviathan axe will fly in, smash the screen, it'll release. It'll give you the window.
I was more of like the snow comes in and then it'll be like 2022 and then it'll be like and we'll get a name for it, which would likely be God of War Ragnarok or something equivalent, and then 2022. Like, no gameplay, ain't seeing dick. That thing is so far away. That is the back end of next year. Now, I don't even think I presume around October 2022 for that. I don't think they will say that. I think they'll just say 2022.
Yeah.
In this,
they may say holiday 2022.
Yeah, holiday 2022 is probably the more likely outcome. One of the things that Shane mentioned in the chat, which was on my mind as well, was Ghostwire Tokyo. I
completely forgot that existed.
Yeah, the secondary Bethesda exclusive PlayStation title, time PlayStation exclusive title, I should say. I think that'll make a presence.
Buddy, also in the chat, Last of Us 2 Factions, the multiplayer.
No, that is my want. That is not an educated guess. That is not an educated guess for me.
We spoke about it last week. They've only just started like aggressly hiring for a multiplayer thing. It makes me concerned that it's not coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, so from an educated guess standpoint, I think we'll see some more Kenna, because it is kind of right around the corner. I know it got delayed, but we'll likely see some more Kenna. Deathloop will probably be there for whatever fucking reason.
Deathloop. I've got some news of Deathloop. Deathloop received another trailer this week.
Oh my fucking! How much more of that game?
This trailer was basically just. It was very short. It was about 2 minutes, two and a half minutes, and it was just. This is how we're using the DualSense controller.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't.
Yeah, so I don't that's kind of more of a jest. I don't think it'll show up in the showcase. It makes absolutely no fucking sense to be in the showcase. It's too soon. Like, it literally releases next week. There are previews. Yeah, that's true. Like, there are
apparently their Death Stranding director's cut will be releasing its final trailer next week. Is it gonna be debuting that at the Sony showcase?
Potentially, it would make sense. Maybe there's some extra hinties in there for some other things. What other educated guesses I got there? I think we probably see Call of Duty there in some capacity.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, I do.
Probably.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto trailer for the release in November. That checks out as well from an educated guess standpoint. Yeah, probably a bunch of a couple of independent titles. Just sort of some things that are coming in the next.
Someone mentioned in the chat earlier about Blue Point.
Yes, so that falls us into the want section. So my want section is now this could also fit into the balls to the wall section as well. It is that little bit of a blurred line there. I do believe that they will announce the acquisition of Blue Point in this showcase.
The re-announcement of the acquisition of Blue Point.
Yes, technically the re-announcement of Blue Point in conjunction with this Metal Gear Solid remake.
Okay.
We've gone balls. Like, to me, that's where this is where it is. Like, it's a double whammy, right? It opens up the Konami thing, which we believe to be in the background for the longest time, and additionally, it's exciting because it's fucking Metal Gear. Maybe that could tie into the Death Stranding reveal some way. I don't know. It's probably unlikely, but that would be cool. But yeah, having the Blue Point thing come in, so like, hey, just to make things even cooler, we're making Metal Gear Solid remake by Blue Point, and guess what? Blue Point are now officially part of the PlayStation team. That's how I kind of see that going. My other want is Factions or The Last of Us multiplayer, whatever they decide to call it. I want it to be there. I don't see it being in the interim. Like, it's, as we talked about last week, they are aggressively hiring for it right now. It is insane that it's a year on and we haven't seen it yet, but I don't think it's around the corner either. I think it is still a little while away. Maybe they'll tease it in some capacity, but I'm also not very confident on that either. What other wants is there? What other wants / balls to the walls you got there, Max?
FromSoft are going to come out and drop Bloodborne 2.
Oh, that's a big one.
Now that they're finished with Elden Ring, they're going to Bloodborne 2. So, I mean, I doubt it, but I wouldn't mind seeing a second game from them.
That is so unlikely.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah, but my balls to the wall would be Spider-Man.
My want would be another Ape Escape, but now that Studio Japan's dead, probably not gonna happen. Maybe a Sobi with another Astrobot.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
That would be very nice, actually.
Puck puts in the chat, long shots, Golem game, Gotham Knights, Plague Tale sequel, World War Z. Gotham Knights is going to be showing
at DC Fandom as well as the Suicide Squad game.
So probably won't see that here.
So let's have a look. So I did throw this out onto the social medias for the viewers of the show. So Shane Magicast in the chat, they jumped in on Twitter and said, "I'd like to see a rough roadmap between now and early 2023, which aligns with what we're thinking, which is cool. Just seasonal windows for releases is fine. GT7 in the autumn, Forspoken in the winter, etc. I didn't even think about Forspoken. Holy fuck. Would love to hear what Sony's response to Game Pass that Jim Ryan teased at the end of last year is all about. I don't see that. It would be cool, mostly because I still don't think they have one. Like they've said they have, but I don't think there's been any proof that they fucking have it.
What's that? What was that? Was it Capcom game that was at the PS5 showcase? Was it Calypso? Whatever.
The Calypso? No, it wasn't the Calypso Protocol. It was something else.
Them?
No, the Calypso Protocol was the Dead Space-esque.
Yeah.
Pragmata. Was it Pragmata?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, Pragmata could be there. Final Fantasy 16 could be there.
Final Fantasy 16 will be there.
Buddy, what's some deep down? Get out of here.
I'm pretty sure they turned around and announced that they weren't even going to show anything Final Fantasy at Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah.
And I feel if they're not going to show it at Tokyo Game Show, they're not going to show it at Sony's. Which I want to see more. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'll be stoked if they do, but I don't know. It's not going to be a Tokyo Game Show. It seems.
Shane also mentions Hogwarts Legacy. I think that's very, very, very possible. That was shown off at last year's showcase. It's since been delayed to coming out this year, and also that game better do something. Seems it fucked me so hard in the draft this year. I hope it's delivering in some capacity. Look. Yeah, it's this weird space. Like I have an idea of what I want, but it is only 40 minutes. And being I've discussed here many times how I am a very cynical. I have a very cynical look at the games industry most of the time. So when everyone throws, it's actually hard for me to throw big teasers out there because I'm like, I can't even believe it in myself.
The Order 2?
Yeah, what? Because, like, look, we look at it. I did play myself in the draft, buddy. I did. I got ballsy after smashing Max in the first year, and then I got so ballsy that I ended up doing exactly what Max did, and doubling down on big games.
Hang on. I want to point out that I got screwed by one game, and that game is still screwing everybody.
No, but I mean, as in you relied on big games, and I made the mistake of relying on big games, and it bit me even harder. Where you played it safe.
He says sitting on his Cyberpunk chair.
Because it is one of those things. Because if we look at what everyone's working on, if we look at the studios, right, and where they're at and where they could be working on something, like Insomniac just released 2 games. Like they are quiet. I really don't see them announcing Spider-Man 2.
It depends. Like, if it's still set in the same world, the majority of their base is arguably already built.
I would argue that if they release another game set in the same area, it's going to be it'd be a bad call. They need to do more. They need to go somewhere else. Like, Spider-Man hangs primarily out in New York, and you know,
I mean, he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's not like he goes.
Yeah,
they're not making an Avengers game. They're making a Spider-Man game.
Yes, but if they need to justify be a sequel, like, because the same thing could be said for Miles Morales, right? Everyone's like, it's a sequel, but no, it's expansion, which is fine because Miles Morales was fucking dope. But if they are making a numbered sequel, it needs to do more. It needs to be more. And maybe it needs to go somewhere, right? You know, I don't know where they would go or how they would extrapolate it. But that would need to be that step. In order for it to be a justifiable sequel, because I'm sure they'll want to charge $125 for it, then they need to do and take it more. We look at Naughty Dog with Last of Us Part 2 a year ago, potentially working on this new sequel. You know, there was those rumor mills about the Last of Us remake and the Uncharted remake. I don't think we'll see them here, but they're potentially. Sony Santa Monica, we presume it will be whatever God of War will be working on. We presume whatever God of War the tentative title is. I still kind of think Cory Barlog's not involved in Ragnarok, by the way. So there's that. Sony
is he tweeted this week that he finally got his Xbox and now he's an Xbox boy?
No. It's just more of, I kind of think he's working on another project with Sony Santa Monica that isn't that. So Sony Bend, with the amount of fuck around they've had since Days Gone, I doubt they have anything to show. Sony London could be interesting in some way. There's maybe something working out of there. What am I missing? Team Asobi now, like we might see some Astrobot. Polyphony with obviously GT7 coming out next year. They're pretty covered. Pixel Opus might be working on something with, you know, Concrete Genie being a good time ago. Am I missing anyone? Sony San Diego, like they're working whatever the next MLB is, and that's not going to be shown. Am I missing anyone? Well, Nixus are a support studio. Housemarque just wrapped up Returnal, so they ain't doing shit. I think I've covered everyone.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure I've ticked all the boxes. But either way, it's not leaving a lot of room.
I mean, I don't know. There could be second party, third party stuff there.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking because as part of the material that I received about this, they were very much relying on this is a PlayStation Studios event. So to me, that makes me think about what the slate is around those first party studios. And, you know, because they all went so hard... I thought Sucker Punch was the one I missed. They've just done Ghost of Tsushima. They've just done Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut.
Multiplayer game, I'm pretty sure.
Allegedly, they're working on something. But even then, that is a while away. Like, the load... The pumping of the load, for the lack of a better expression, happened so heavy in the last couple years of the PlayStation 4 that, like, I remember even more asking, like, when launch comes around for the PS5, like, what can they do? Everyone's done everything. Like, it's just all quiet time. Because, you know, if you look at, like, Xbox were in that same position as well. They have a lot of great studios, and I'm really, really excited. I'm really excited what they can do. But a lot of their studios, even the ones they just bought, had just released something. So we may not see the bang for the buck for a little while. And I think Sony's it there as well. We may not see the bang for the buck from a PlayStation 5 perspective, at least for a little while. And as we talked about, like, look, what needs to happen is whatever they announce, which they won't, they need to show just some PS5 shit. Why we should buy a PS5, because right now there isn't. The next 3 releases, which are Horizon, God of War, and GT7, have all been confirmed to coming to both. So there's still no reason to buy a fucking PS4 in 2022. You know, a year and a half after release, there's still no reason. So that's got to be sorted. That needs to be changed. They need to do something and be like, this is what's happening. And even then, there was a report that came out this week from a guy that used to work at TT Games or whatever about how even some of the Rift things that we saw in Ratchet and Clank, aren't even that fucking PS5-y. You could do it on PS4. Yes, they couldn't have it look so good while they do it, but it's not that intense tech that they claimed it was. So okay, well then you look back and like how we looked at Returnal. Returnal looked like it could have been done on PS4. Demon Souls, there is back-end code somewhere that shows that they were working at it on PS4. Am I saying should they held the PS5? No, but they've also they are making intentional business decisions for you not to rush out and get one because they know they can't meet the demand. Yeah. They need that is the key goal out of this. If you don't come out of this showcase being like, fuck, I'm glad I got my PS5, or I really need a PS5, then that may be a problem. Personally. In the chat, Crispy Biscuit jumps in, talked, where was it? Jedi Fallen Order 2. Yeah, that would be cool, but I don't see it happening here. And then Puck goes, PlayStation Home 2. I think if they bring that back, it's a VR shared experience, very similar like Rec Room and what's that? Is it VR chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be something like that. Have I missed anything else in the chat? I don't think so. No. I think we kind of covered all the boxes there. But those that are viewing at home, let us know what you think will happen in this PlayStation Showcase. It does come out, it's like 6 a.m. Friday morning. I'm going to do the best I can to be up. I'm going to stream that motherfucker. Why not? Now, Max, you'll be at work.
I will be at work.
So you'll be able to join me this time. But I'm happy to run that bastard solo. I'll be in here. We'll be like, oh, I'm really tired. And then we'll see what happens in the showcase. I want to be excited. And as I said, like, I am very cynical. I want to be excited in this showcase. I want to leave it just feeling good about the brand that we talk about on this show, the brand that is tattooed on my arm. These are the things that I want to be excited. I want there to be just a moment of yes. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. Do you have any final thoughts before we change topic?
No, I think Bloodborne 2, please. FromSoft, make it happen.
Yeah, Bloodborne 2 is probably like the. I think everyone will poo their pants at Bloodborne 2.
Yeah. Next up, we have the PlayStation Plus for September. The PlayStation Plus titles for September. We have Overcooked, All You Can Eat for PS5, Hitman 2 PS4, and Predator Hunting Grounds PS4. The leak was 100% correct. I'm
not even mad about it. Like, we didn't talk about the leak on the show, but like, I almost bought Overcooked All You Can Eat like 2 weeks ago because it was on sale. Glad I didn't. So I'm very happy with that personally.
Hitman 2 is good. If you own Hitman 3, you can add it in, play more.
Because Hitman 1 was given free on PS Plus a year or so ago. So if you own 3, you've got all of it. All the missions. It's fantastic. And Predator Hunting Grounds could really use the benefit from players.
Yeah, really good.
It's very straightforward on that one. But let's transition, Max. Let's talk about THQ Nordic. So THQ Nordic has announced that they will also be taking stage with their own showcase this month on the 17th. And of course, Jeff Keighley will be hosting the event because that's what he does now. He just hosts events. A press release mentions, quote, the return of the legendary franchises, including some for which fans have been waiting decades to get their hands on a new installment. And you can also expect to see sequels to beloved games. We hope you are ready, kids. This is exciting because THQ Nordic own like 1,100,000 fucking studios. So it makes sense for them to come to a point where they're like, all right, well, let's show everything that we've bought. Let's show what the future holds. I think they've just hit a anniversary recently. Let me quickly check my emails because an email did come through about it. Where is it?
I think so.
Where are you? No, I think it's gone. It's lost in all the other emails I got. That's fine. Yeah, it's gone.
So many.
It's gone. But yeah, so to me, it's just there's obviously a reason here.
Yeah, they've got like you said, like 1,100 IPs that they could pick from. So who knows what it's going to be?
Yeah.
New SpongeBob game, I guess.
Oof. Sure.
Are you ready, kids?
Oh my god! What are they doing the fucking fighting game? The Nickelodeon fighting game?
I don't know.
It might be now.
There's gonna be SpongeBob Smash Bros.
Well, there's a Nickelodeon like Smash Brothers X game coming, like Cat Dog's in it, and like Oblina from Real Monsters is there, like Nigel Thornberry. It's like all Nicktoons in this like beat 'em up game. Looks funny.
Oh yeah, fair enough. We have so we got some Midnight Suns news. So earlier this week, Firaxis Games, the team behind XCOM, showed the first glimpse of gameplay for their upcoming title, Marvel's Midnight Suns. The combat, they showed off some of the combat, which differs from XCOM. So XCOM being a tactical, turn-based combat game. In this, it is still that tactical turn-based game, but you have ability cards that are randomly added to your hand, and you use those cards to activate the hero's abilities. From what was shown, battles will be fought in teams of 3. With the new superhero known as the Hunter, will always be in the team. So that means you're limited to, I guess, the selection of 2 heroes to add to your team. The Hunter is a fully customizable, both cosmetically and with new skills and abilities. This superhero was designed specifically for this game. And when not in missions, you will be able to explore the hub, which is known as the Abbey, where you can interact with other heroes, giving dialogue options and the chance to strengthen bonds with those heroes, allowing them to unlock new powers to be used in battle. Looks pretty cool.
This has me more excited. Because as you guys know, I've talked about on the show before, I've been painting the Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is a miniatures game, which is, funny enough, card-based. So it's a console version of MCP. That's the shit that gets me excited. I'm like, the game that I can't play with anyone right now because of fucking lockdown, I can play a digital version of it. Yes, please. Yes, please. But because I know this probably will. This style of game seems more of a max game than a Betson game.
Yeah, I'm super keen for. I mean, card-based combat is great. Tactical combat, great. Marvel superheroes, great. Yeah, I'm definitely keen to check this out.
Well, because I think that the greatest thing about a turn-based game like this is, especially when it comes to Marvel, right? Like it's so easily understandable which characters do what. Like you are literally just working with a bunch of specialists, and I think that really helps you make the team that you want to make from a tactical perspective.
It does bum me out that it seems to be. I mean, just from like extrapolating from the footage that we've been shown, does seem to be 3-man parties. And if the Hunter is your player character throughout the game, who must be in each team, you're only getting to pick 2 heroes to add to that.
True.
And that does seem a little underwhelming.
Yeah, look, that part is a little bit disappointing. I would admit that, because you can't have this really cool, intense squad of soups. But like I think that you will either likely be in a bunch of different scenarios that require you to swap those teams in and out, or you just find the ones you like and run with it. Like those are the only real 2 ways that it's going to go. I'm excited from a story perspective. I think you're taking on Lilith is the big bad. Like you're your own custom character. I'm intrigued. I watched the trailer again last night when I was in bed. I was like, I'll watch this again. And I was like, yeah, no, kind of cool. I like the artistic of it all. Doc Strange looks mad. All these little details, like Blade looks dope. Wolverine looks dope. Like it's hitting a lot of boxes for me that I probably will love it until I play it and like, ooh, that's not a Betson game. But we'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah.
Dead Space, Max. Earlier this week, Motive showcased some of the recently announced Dead Space. In an early pre-production dev build, they showed off some changes made to the title with dev commentary. A big mechanic from Dead Space was the dismemberment, and it looks like Motive are doubling down on it. You can shoot out a foe's leg, and they significantly slow it. They slow down. Take out its arms, and it won't be able to attack you quite as easily. Unsurprisingly, the release's upcoming PS5 reimagining will additionally double down on those elements, with a pre-production live stream earlier today stressing that dismemberment will be a deeper and more disgusting than ever before. So they're doubling down on the remake in general, and then again on the dismemberment, and also playing those extra effects that come with it, like slowing the character down, etc., making it So rather than just pulling it out front of them. Excuse me. Motive is adding depth to the mechanics by augmenting different weapons with unique properties depending on the type of enemy you use them on. So for an example, some firearms will shred specific enemies while others will simply stun them. With regards to the UI elements, rather than having numbers flying off your decomposing foes like a modern shooter, say Destiny 2, you'll instead see flesh and bone fall off, very similar to Doom Eternal. The amount of meat on a monster will determine its remaining health, so you'll visibly be able to see when an appendage is near to snapping off hot, which is both disgusting and ingenious. So
I'm pretty keen for this.
Look, the thing that got me excited in a weird way and it made me laugh is when there was a side by side shot, right, from like one shot from the 2008 Dead Space and then the now, and I'm like, oh, the hallways are longer. Like that was the first thing I noticed because there was like a clear shuttered door, which means obviously loading times will be either better or non-existent. The guy looks a little bulkier, like the armor seems a bit different. I think that it will be heavily. I think there will be some creative liberty taken here, and it's not going to be a shot-for-shot remake. And I think, I can see in the differences in the armor and how it looks might be that.
I don't think it should be a shot-for-shot remake anyway. I think it needs to have something added to it. Not that, obviously, Dead Space was the strongest of the trilogy. So they're going to want to treat it with care, I think. And I think they'll do it. I think Motive will do it justice.
Well, I'd certainly hope so. Like, I think... There is so much anticipation. There is so much demand and expectation around whatever this becomes. And if they're not giving it 100%, I think they will be doing themselves a massive, massive detriment. Especially on the back of not just... It's bad enough that they end up having to kill Visceral after all this because of EA's mistakes. So if they then follow this up with more mistake, look, they're still not. It's not going to go well. Where I'm getting at, but we'll wait and see on that.
So as I alluded to earlier, a new trailer did drop for Deathloop earlier this week, and it just shows off. It's a PS5 next gen immersion trailer, and it just shows off the features the game will take advantage of for when using the DualSense controller. So Deathloop's signature use of the controller is detailed as weapon jams in the heat of action, making pressing down the R2 button much, much tougher task. Every gun is also set to feel unique as Deathloop follows in the footsteps of Call of Duty, with all the different trigger feedbacks for each independent gun, which is cool. Haptic feedback also provides a more subtle touch, simulating footsteps and slides in turn with your movement in the game. The built-in speaker rounds out the feature list by blasting out the noises of the radio. Of course, the audio can be rerouted to your headphones if you are wearing them. So it was a very quick, snappy 2-minute trailer. It just showed it had a picture of the DualSense on screen, and it showed how the haptic feedback would rumble as you were walking, running, sliding through the hallways. It showed how the trigger jams would work and how they would play effect in the game when playing. It was very short, very to the point. It makes me excited for the game. It's always fun to see how studios take advantage of the DualSense controller being such a unique piece of hardware in the gaming space at the moment. And for the most part, I personally thought it was going to be very gimmicky at the start. I didn't think many people were going to actually use it. I figured the extent was going to be that the example that everyone gave at the time of, as you pull a bowstring, it gets harder and harder to pull. I figured that was going to be the extent of that, and I'm so glad that it's not.
Yeah, and it's also great that even third parties are getting involved. Well, in this case, is a third party exclusive, but it is a sign for the future. I hope it is continuing to be supported as well as it is, but it's just more of we are still in that honeymoon window, I guess. It's essentially another year from now is when, if it's still coming in a year from now, I think then we're like, okay, this is going to be around for the foreseeable future of this generation.
Yeah.
All right, this big one. So Horizon Forbidden West went up this week in terms of its pre-orders. It's available now for pre-order on the PSN as well as physical stores like your EB Games and your JB Hi-Fis. With that, they announced a number of different editions. There is the standard edition, there is the digital edition, there is the deluxe edition, the digital deluxe edition, and there were also two big fuck-off collector's editions, one called the collector's edition and one called the regalia edition. They come with two giant statues of the Thunder Tusk, which is the big mammoth-y looking fucker that we saw in the last trailer. One is a very standard version of it, where one is a sort of a jacked up version with different color scheme as well as some additional things on top. They do both come with steel cases, and the regalia comes with a little extra miniatures as well as a replica of the Focus, which is the little electronical device that Aloy has on her head. What is interesting though is that in these Clicks edition, it comes with the digital only version. It appears from the information that we have that there is no hard disk coming in these boxes, which is a bit fucked when they run it.
So why are they selling a steel case?
Because people like collecting steel cases apparently. So yeah, it's running at $2.99 Australian for the collectors, which is the one I was able to get. I did try to get the regalia one, however, it literally got taken from my cart as I was ordering it through JB, and thankfully with the EB having the other one, I just got through because they were like, "Hey, this goes live at 11 or 10, no 11," and where JB was just like, "Here it is," which I got a message from Paul, friend of the show, Paul James. He's like, "Go JB now," and then I lost it in my cart as I was putting my PayPal details in, which is ball bags. But thankfully, the other ones were good. The standard and special editions of the game will only have one version of the game, the PS4 version. So this is the thing. So one of the big beefs that they've been having is the upgrade path. So the big fancy pants editions come with a PS5 version, from my understanding.
Both. Comes with both.
Yes.
You get a PS4 and a PS5 version.
Yeah.
Both.
Where if you don't get the fuck off box, you just get the PS4 version.
So the standard and from my understanding, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is the standard version and the one up from the standard are PS4 versions.
Yeah.
The digital deluxe has both, and then the two big collector's editions have both.
Yeah, so like if you go to the it's
there appears to be no free upgrade path from the PS4 to PS5 version. You either buy the PS4 version or you buy the version that it comes with both.
Yeah.
So there's obviously been a big state of contention throughout the Sony upgrade process. And a lot of people have brought up the blog post from Sony, which is still live from last year, that states, quote, "Additionally, we know that the PS4 community will transition to PS5 at different times, and we're happy to announce PS4 versions of some of our exclusives. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and Horizon Forbidden West will also launch on PlayStation 4. While these three games were designed to take advantage of the PlayStation 5 and its unique next-gen features like the ultra-high-speed SSD and DualSense controller, PS4 owners will also be able to enjoy these experiences when they launch. The PS4 digital versions of launch games include a free upgrade on both PS5 consoles, while the PS4 disc version of these games include a free upgrade on the PS5 with the Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive."
Yeah, so it's very clear that at one point in time that's what they were offering.
Well, see, my thing is, it specifically says,
the digital versions make sense because digital, super easy. But they're like, to me that's very clear. While the PS4 disc versions of these games include a free upgrade on the PS5. So what was the thing the wording that you were getting caught on?
Oh no, it's all right. The one that I saw, it says launch titles, not when they launch.
Yeah, so the one I saw was launch titles as well.
Like Horizon is not a launch title.
Not even close.
It's launching in 2022. It is not a launch title. But this does, like, I ripped this straight from the PlayStation blog, and it does specifically say the PS4 digital versions of launched games include a free upgrade. Yeah, there you go. It does say there the PS4 digital versions of launch games, not when games launch. It's of launch games, and I would argue that Horizon is not a launch game.
Not even close. So in terms of that exact wording, yeah, I can't fault that shit in an instant, right? Like it's like it is not a launch game, and like there is going to come a time where these free upgrade paths aren't a thing. Like the problem that these free upgrades have, I understand why they do it because it makes sense, but it does create a precedent, and that precedent is dangerous because and it's the same precedent that Xbox have made with Game Pass. Because if the one day that something doesn't come to Games Pass, they're all like, oh, why is it coming to Games Pass? What do you mean I have to pay $70 for this? That is the scenario because they've created a situation and established a pattern of behavior that's this way. Or like now, it's once again, PlayStation haven't established a free upgrade path. None of them. It's been $10 US. Yeah. It appears that this is an escalation of that to a whole fucking price of a game. That is different. If they were like, it's not a free upgrade path, it's $10, that I'm okay with because there is no switch in precedent there.
In saying that, my understanding is there's a $10 US difference between the deluxe edition and the. So to buy the PS4 version, I think was $60 US. To buy the edition that comes with both PS5 and PS4 is $70.
Yeah, so there you go.
It's still a $10 upgrade. You just have to buy them both to begin with. You can't buy the PS4 version and then in a year's time go, I have my PS5 now, I want to upgrade it. It's like, no, you should have paid the $10 to begin with. Now you have to repurchase the entire game.
Well, because that same hurdle is being seen now across with Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding. Like if you bought the game, like an example is a friend of ours, Jason from the DualSense pod. Like he has a digital PS5, and he had Ghost of Tsushima or Death Stranding, one of the two. Physically, he can't put that disc in.
No, and it uses the disc as a DRM check.
Exactly, so he has no way of getting his $10 upgrade for either Ghost of Tsushima or Death Stranding. It's not possible. Pardon me. So he is doing this. He literally has to buy the full game again. Now, I don't know. I sit in this weird middle ground on this, in the way that I understand the decision. I understand the decisions that Sony are making here, in terms of just buy the deluxe edition. That's what you got to do. Like that's what the version is. If you want the PS4 version, that's it, right? Yes, it's forward planning. Like, well, I don't have a PS5 yet, so I'm playing on PS4. Like, but do you plan on having it one day? Why don't you just buy this?
Yeah,
they are not removing the options here, and to coincide with that, I also get frustrated around the expectation and / potential entitlement of gaming, of the gamers, with the idea of like, we should get a fucking free upgrade path. Like, no. Like it's if anything, it's been a kindness gesture, right, or a customer serving gesture. It should not be the standard. And like, yes, so many companies, because they wanted to do that, have made that bad. Like they've made the idea of paying for an upgrade bad.
The difference is, I want to point out that a lot of the places that have done the free upgrades make a shitload of their money off the microtransactions in their games.
Yep.
So they can recoup those costs quite easily. With Sony games, they are selling you a game, and generally, because most Sony games are third-party single-player action-adventure games, they're not littered with microtransactions. Once you've bought that game, that is it. That's the money they're getting from you for that title. Whereas Call of Duty, you're buying your battle passes each.
But even then, they are now transitioning to the idea of you have to pay for the upgrade. Same as FIFA, right? Like that's happening. It's the time has changed.
I mean, technically, forever you've been paying for an upgrade of FIFA. You pay it every year when you buy the next bloody game. That's what you're doing. You're paying $100 a year for the upgrade.
Yeah. However, I do in some other ways, I do completely understand the frustration, and I side with them on that. They clearly have stated in the quote that you have pulled out here that these 3 titles, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy Big Adventure, and Horizon Forbidden West, will also launch on PS4. While these 3 games were designed to take whatever, right? Like, they've clearly named the 3 games, they've delivered those 3 games, they've said these 3 titles will not have paid upgrades. That is fucked. And now they're going directly against that wording. That's fucked. That's bullshit. A, it's dishonest for one, and 2, it's a bit shit.
Again, I don't. You can argue that they haven't, because if you continue the quote, it says PlayStation 4 owners can enjoy those games when they launch, and the PS4 digital versions of launch games will include a free upgrade to PS5.
Yeah, like there is very particular wording there.
It's not saying that when those 3 games launch, you will get a free upgrade. It's that any launch game that comes out on both will be upgradable for free. But after that, you know.
But yeah, it is misleading to mention those 3 and then in the same, like, it's a very weird structured paragraph, so I can understand the confusion. On a technicality, you are correct, and I fucking love technicalities. But like yeah.
Well, I think that the reason for this paragraph was like, we're not forgetting about our PS4 user base. You are still going to be able to play these games. You're not going to miss out. But if you do happen to get a launch console and you've already bought these on PS4, we're going to bump them up for you because it's not your fault you didn't know you were going to get a PS5.
Yeah.
And that's fair. But for a game that's coming out in 2022...
So a year and a half later...
year and a half after launch, you either know if you've got a PS5 or you don't, and you're either going to buy the PS4 version or you're going to buy, which I agree. Buddy puts in the chat. Sony called it, quote, dual entitlement.
Yeah, it's a bit shit.
And it is a very condescending name for it. You either buy one or you buy both for the extra $10.
But additionally, like, this is the other thing, right? Like, every other generation, this has never been a problem. Never. And like the whole idea of, I don't have a PS5, so why can't I play Horizon? You know, an example, say like, oh, Horizon's coming to PS5. Like, but I don't have a PS5. What would you fucking do? You know what I mean? Like, that happened with the Xbox, happened with the PS3, happened with the Wii, happened, you know, like, I'm sorry, that's just how it's always been. Does that mean that's good? No. But it's a circumstance, like, if they're rating a new generation and they're like, hey, this game's only coming to new generation, like, hey, but I have a PS2. Like, yes, but it's a PS5 game, but I can't play it. Like, well, yeah, because it's a PS5 game. Like, what part of that don't you understand? And that's that same, like, there is that argument here, and that's how I'm seeing this, right? It's like, I'm sorry, too bad. Like, I understand, yes, a pandemic happened in that interim. Yes, I understand stock shortages, but as far as I can remember, every single time they ever launched a console, it wasn't just walk off the shelf and buy it. As far as my personal experience has always been, once again, very anecdotal because it's just me, they've always been near on unavailable. Not for not for like a year on plus later. That's a bit different. But
it took me 6 months to get my PS4 after launch.
Exactly. You know, it is weird. Like, I understand that my stance comes from a place of entitlement because I have one.
Yeah.
You know?
Look, at the end of the day, there is development costs going into a PS5 version of the game. It deserves to be like an upgrade.
I'm not even a big fan of the developmental cost argument, right? Because, as I said, there are so many other avenues that people make money now. Like, the idea is like, well, a game isn't worth $60 anymore. Like, yeah, there's so much other ways for income to come in that argument I have an issue with. My issue is not about the price itself. I'm not like, well, games should be $70. Not that at all. Like, I'm, you know, whatever. Things change over time. Prices increase over time. That's just inflation. Like, that is like relatively basic economics. I'm not even a fucking smart person. I understand that. So the same thing that I bought X amount of years ago is not valued at the same it is now because that's not how it works. But yeah, this expectation that comes around, like, give me the, like, I want the free benefit. That's what bums me out. That's what shits me off.
Let's talk some quick bits, Ryan. Naughty Dog borrowed infamous Second Son assets to help with Last of Us 2.
That's why fucking Cole just rocks up later in the game. Spoilers, by the way.
I mean, the games are both set in the same location,
Yeah,
and they kind of they basically went, hey, we're not going to use any of these assets. We just want to have a look at them, see how it's built out. We're gonna. Cool. I guess that's the benefit of working in Sony Studios. You get to share resources, assets, all that fun stuff. Death Stranding Director's Cut to debut its final trailer next week, which we alluded to earlier. And lastly, Beat Saber has added Skrillex to its lineup.
Now I've added a couple other here as well. So yeah, Beat Saber, that's dope. Because Skrillex is like, that seems like the right kind of like tempo and delivery. Which is cool. So I've also added to this. So Norman Reedus has hinted at Death Stranding 2 in a Brazilian interview this week. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That might get you excited. Would you want a Death Stranding 2?
Didn't we speak about this last week?
I don't think we did. I did two PlayStation pods last week, so I don't remember.
No, I'd be keen too. A lot of people were like, maybe he's just referencing the director's cut, but that wouldn't make sense in the context of the interview. Mm. I'd be super keen for more Death Stranding. I'd be super keen for more Norman Reedus. I was reading an article earlier, I think it was yesterday, that Kojima pitched a game to Mads Mikkelsen called Mads Max. he just wants to hang out more with Mads, I guess. Yeah. Make cool shit.
And additionally, the new PS5 models that have rocked up in Australia, which we did talk about them arriving here in Australia, with them being 300 grams lighter, it appears that a big part of that is their fucking heatsink. So these bastards run hotter.
They're 300 grams lighter and run 5 degrees hotter.
As someone that had a PS5 at launch, the reason it fucking shit itself was because it kept overheating. That concerns me so bad.
Yeah, they took out 300 grams of the heatsink and changed some of it to aluminium.
Over copper, I think it was. Yeah.
Over copper, yeah.
I look at that and I go, oh no. Because I spent my first couple of days pumping an air conditioner into my PS5 just to make it turn on so I could reset it to send it off. You know what I mean? Like, that has me worried. Now, granted, like, yeah, I saw the video like has heat pumping out the back and it's pumping heat out the back at 5 degrees hotter or whatever. That's good. That's where the heat's supposed to be, fucking out the back of it. So it's wait and see, because I don't know how many are out in the wild at the moment, but wait and see. Before we jump into the top 10 best selling games, I just want to jump in on a point that Buddy adds in the chat. They comment, simple, just eliminate the standard $60 and charge $70 for everything PS4 and PS5. Then people would be pissed. Yeah, they would be. People are pissed regardless. Yeah. So there is in the world that we have right now, because we live in a society, as the expression always says, everyone's just mad at fucking everything. So like, pick your battle and then go with it. Because what'll happen is everyone will crack the shit and then end up paying it anyway. Everyone that cracked the shits about Activision are probably going to buy Call of Duty.
I wonder, because if you're buying, I know we finished through this topic, but in those editions where you get the dual entitlement, are they giving you 2 separate codes? Because they would be 2 separate SKUs for a PS4 and a PS5
you have to keep
version.
You have to keep the code until it releases that's a bit until you get a PS5. That's a bit weird.
Well, I'm just.
Oh, actually, potential. I don't think so.
Can I pass on that PS4 code and use my PS5?
No, I don't think so, because when I've put codes in for a PS5 game, it's given us both versions.
True.
So it's probably it's the same way. It just means you're technically redeeming the PS5 version on your PS4. That makes sense, right? And Buddy also confirms that there are plenty in the wild around the B chassis, like the new version of the PS5. But we'll wait and see what there's on the return policy around that, because I know they'd have to go through their retailer first and then potentially through to Sony Direct or vice versa. No, I think it's, I don't know. Wait and see if there's any history. Look, maybe the heat sink is less because it runs better. Maybe, because presumably this is being built out of that Taiwan factory compared to just Foxconn. That, there was the chipset were different there. Maybe they run better. I don't know. I'm not that fucking smart. It's through Sony first. Well, there you go, Sony. So therefore, we will never know what the actual return rate is, because why would Sony ever give that information out? All right, so here are the top 10 best-selling PS4 games for the week ending the 29th of August. Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 9. 8 is FIFA 21. Number 7 is Battlefront 2. Number 6, Madden 22. Number 5, Gran Turismo Sport. Number 4, Need for Speed Heat. Number 3, God of War. Number 2, Aliens. Was it Fireteam Elite? I got to zoom in.
Yep.
And number 1 for the 6th week in a row almost, GTA 5.
Upcoming titles for this week, we have Golf Club Wasteland coming to PlayStation 4 September 3rd, Kitaria Fables PS4, PS5 September 3rd, Sonic Colors Ultimate PS4 September 7, Fist Forged in Shadow Torch PS4 September 7.
Oh, wait, is that out this week?
Apparently.
Oh, get out. Nice.
We have Struggling PS4 September 8th, Ultra Age PS4 September 9th, Blood Rain Betrayal Fresh Bites PS4 PS5 September 9th. Life is... Oh, no, that got pushed, didn't it?
Life is Strange got pushed, yeah.
Yeah, it got pushed. Tales of Arise PS4 PS5 September 10th.
Farming!
And Lost in Random PS4 PS5 September 10th.
Oh, shit!
NBA 2K22 PS4 PS5 September 10th. Oh.
Well, because you mentioned some September 3rd ones there, which at time of this goes up. At time of recording, that was yesterday, and it's been out.
Oh, yeah.
Golf Club Wasteland is out. It looks pretty interesting. It's cool. Buddy swears by it in the chat too, as an example. So, Brad, Lost in Random, that's that cool fucking dice, really creepy cool looking game.
I need to wrap things up. I can hear my daughter losing her little mind.
Oh, no. All right, well, this is like a near on 2-hour show.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right, well, let's get this fucking done. Thank you all for joining us this week. I hope you all had a lovely time. It's always fun doing the show. Max, send this home.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come check out our socials, Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
Wait, what was the fucking thing? I got distracted by my phone. Oh, if you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/popcultures where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you are on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and we'll endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopcultures, as well as our merchandise store, popculture.com/shop, where you can buy shirts, other assorted shit with our logos on it. And until we return next week, where we talk about the results of the showcase, I'll probably live stream it for funsies. I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players. Go rescue your child, Max.